Teresa, thank you so much for joining us here as part of Positive Aging Week 2020. Would you tell a little bit about yourself, your role, and what your services are?
My name is Teresa Hennessey. I work in the HSE here in Carlow, Kilkenny, in health promotion. So I work in positive ageing and other areas. I've been with the Kilkenny and Carlow Age Friendly County programme as a member of the steering group on both for about 10 years now. So it's been an interesting journey from the beginning.
So what is mindfulness, Teresa?
Can we start with 3 deep breaths? Would that be okay? Okay. So I'm going to ask you and anyone who's watching, perhaps just put your 2 feet flat on the ground and seat yourself in the seat so that you can feel the support of the chair beneath you. Just bring your attention to your breathing and draw a deep breath in and hold for a moment and let it back out again. And again, a deep breath. And if you're holding any tension in your body, try to become aware of where that is and let it go on the outward breath. And again, a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. So, if you've never done any mindfulness before, you have done it now. That's how simple it can be. Mindfulness is about paying attention in a particular way on purpose to the present moment, non-judgmentally. It's about not spending all of your time dwelling on regrets in the past or spending all of your time projecting about worries in the future. So it's bringing your attention to the only moment you have, which is the present moment. Okay? A very simple way of explaining mindfulness is to use the word focus. It's bringing focus. So mindfulness isn't about drifting off into non-thinking. It's about concentrating on the present moment. The breath is often used as an anchor to bring your attention to the present moment because it's available to all. Everybody is breathing. So it's a good way to bring yourself to the present moment. Mindfulness is, it takes time to develop. But the more you do, it's like dose dependent. The more you do, the easier it becomes to practice. You develop your mindfulness muscle. It's like physical activity. The more you do, the more your muscles tone up. So if you're developing mindfulness, the more you do it, the more it comes easily to you. Pick a time that is quiet and that suits you. So when you won't be disturbed by anybody. For example, I do it sometimes in the car. If I'm a few minutes early for work, park up under the trees. I know I won't be disturbed. For others, they do it first thing in the morning before they even get out of bed. And that can be a time, it's peaceful. The house, hasn't kicked off for the day yet. So whatever suits you, really, it's just to pick a time that suits you so that you will continue it, because it's all about doing it as often as you can, at least once a day, and maybe in the start as you're just developing your practice, 5-10 minutes, and then as it becomes easier, try to fit in a little more into your day.
Are there any books that you could recommend to us on mindfulness, just to learn a little bit more about it?
There's loads and loads of books. One that I would recommend is this one, Mark Williams, Danny Penman. It's one of the classics. It's Mindfulness, a Practical Guide to Finding Peace in a Frantic World. It's a lovely title. Yeah, that's what attracted me to it. But also they would be, particularly Mark Williams, would be one of the co-founders of research around mindfulness, and he would have developed the mindfulness-based cognitive therapy program. So he's very well regarded in the field. So what's beautiful about this book is it is very practical. It goes through 8 weeks of a mindfulness program that you could take part in yourself. And it also, for those of you who still use CDs, because I do, it has a CD in the back with all of the mindfulness meditations on it. So it even shows you the sequence that you should practice in. You may not like every meditation that you come across, but it's important to do particular ones. When you start off, always a mindfulness breath meditation, and then a very important other one is a body scan. So it helps you to scan your entire body and become aware of the connection between your body and your mind. So all of those are in the back of the book, as well as really simple explanation throughout. So that book in particular, I would recommend.
And then, with mindfulness, I suppose, because we're at Positive Aging Week and we're talking about, things that we can do to help ourselves as well. Would you, like, from a person's perspective, being at home at the moment, maybe, would you think that mindfulness would help them more, or how might it help them?
There's loads of benefits to mindfulness, and maybe now is the time when people have a little more time to themselves and the house is quieter. The benefits can be in terms of your physical health. Like it's not just airy-fairy. It's been around for thousands of years, but I suppose research on mindfulness has only grown in the last 2 or 3 decades, and it has been proven to help reduce, in some cases, blood pressure, to help with pain management. This is if it's done regularly and correctly, and to reduce instance of anxiety and improve sleep. It can even has been shown to have benefits in terms of improved relationships, because what mindfulness does is it gives you that little pause before you react to something that maybe would have triggered you previously. Because you become more aware of your thoughts, it allows you to pause and to respond rather than to react to something. So in that way, it can reduce aggression, it can reduce bullying, it can actually make people more empathic as well to others. So there's loads of benefits to it. So I take it as being a little break from your brain, from the busyness of your brain and from overthinking. Because how many thoughts do you think go through your mind every single day? It's actually between 60 and 80,000 thoughts a day. And what's interesting is that the majority of those are the same as the thoughts you had yesterday. So if you had a bad day yesterday, you could be bringing a lot of that negativity forward into today. So with mindfulness, it can actually help you to become aware of your thoughts and what they are, and just see them as passing through rather than being facts. So it might be, say for example, if you see somebody coming towards you on the street and they ignore you, but you know them quite well. If you're having a bad day, you might start to think, why did they ignore me? What did I ever do to her? All the things I ever did for that person. And you get in a rage, or you might decide, well, I'm going to ignore them the next time I see them. Okay? But if you're rational and you think about, maybe there's another side to this. Maybe she's distracted. Maybe she's upset or worried about something. Maybe she didn't see me at all, So mindfulness can help you to bring that rationality into it rather than reacting emotionally to something that may not be there at all. So there's 2 main ways that you practice mindfulness. There is formal and informal mindfulness. So formal is maybe where you listen to a guided meditation, like the CD that I mentioned earlier. I'll do one as well during this session to see what people think. So that's listening to someone else's voice. There's loads of apps, there's loads of books, CDs and things that you can download to listen to. The script that I will read out, I'll make it available too, that people can actually just take it away and read it to somebody else. You can record your own voice and play it back if you find that relaxing, or someone in your family who's, you like listening to their voice, you could use it like that. So that's formal mindfulness. Informal mindfulness then is bringing your attention to the present moment within everyday activities. So you can be mindfully washing the dishes, mindfully rubbing the dog, having a cup of tea, going for a walk. So as well as your guided piece or your formal meditation, bring your attention to the present moment in other things you do during the day. And you do this by using your 5 senses. So you can say to yourself, what can I see? What can I hear? What can I feel? What can I taste? And what can I smell? And, not all of those will be present all of the time, but it grounds you. And actually that can be used for somebody who's feeling very anxious or panicky. They can ground themselves by bringing their attention to their 5 senses, looking around and saying, what 5 things can I see? 4 things I can hear? 3 things I can feel, 2 things I can taste or touch. So it's just a bringing you away from the worry in your mind and the racing off into the future, and bringing you back to here and now.
I also noticed you had another book in with you today.
Yes, this one is different in that it's more about positive psychology, but it's called Flourishing by Maureen Gaffney. And Maureen Gaffney is a well-known Irish clinical psychologist. And interestingly, she is also very much involved in the Age Friendly County programme in County Louth. I think she was the chairman of their committee. But flourishing is a really interesting concept. So what she has said is we have this natural negative bias in our brain, and this developed over time because we are still operating on caveman brain. So for example, if we as cavemen wandered out their caves thinking about what food can I kill to bring back to my family today, they would survey the landscape. So you might see, you know, beautiful trees or the sunrise or animals in the distance or an antelope that you could possibly run after and, you know, hack. But if you miss the rustle in the bushes, which is a dangerous animal about to attack you, then you're in trouble. So that's where our negativity bias comes from in the brain, because we can see all these wonderful things, but if we see one thing wrong, that's the one thing that sticks in our brain. So it was a survival mode initially for us to have this negativity bias, but it doesn't serve us well now that we notice the negatives and we actually remember negative memories a lot more clearly than positive ones. So the whole idea of flourishing is to look at the balance between negative and positive in your life. And what Maureen has said is that you need at least 3 positives to counteract every negative thing in your, you know, every negative, say, comment. You need 3 positives to counteract that and balance things up. But in order to actually flourish, to not just feel like I'm treading water here, I'm actually, you know, growth, or I'm feeling love, or I'm feeling fulfilled in my life, you need a ratio of at least 5-1.
And have you any tips on positive psychology as well?
Yeah, and it's really interesting, the whole science behind positive psychology. What you focus on expands in your brain. Every single experience you have every day changes your brain slightly. So even if you have a similar experience to yesterday, it's still creating neural pathways in your brain. So as I said earlier, we have 60,000 thoughts. The majority of those are the same as yesterday. But if you went on a holiday today, just say, even in Ireland, with current climate, okay, you go to the seaside today, your thoughts today are going to be slightly different from yesterday when you were in the same routine and in the house and cooking for the same people and seeing the same faces. You know, because you're seeing different things, you're smelling different things, tasting different things. It actually puts you in good form just to be somewhere else. But you don't have to physically travel to put your brain in a different headspace. When you're being mindful, you're noticing, I'm a bit negative here. These are the thoughts that are going through my head. What can I do to shift that balance? So one of the ways of shifting the balance or redressing the balance is to concentrate on what things do I love to do. It's very simple, so it's different for everyone. So what are my flow activities? So a flow activity is something that when you're in the process of doing it, you're so passionate about it that time passes and you don't notice the time has passed. Okay, so one of my flow activities is scrapbooking. I love to pull together photographs and captions and capture pieces of people's personalities, put them in a book, either physically or online, and present it to that person. So when I'm doing that, I can get lost, do that for 2 or 3 hours and not notice someone who's come in or out, or whether I've had a cup of tea or whatever. So do more of your flow activities, do more of what you love. And that's one way to redress the balance. Notice when you're in a negative spiral and what can you do about it. Sometimes when people are feeling a bit down, they stop doing the things they love. They don't want to see people, or they don't feel like going out or going for a walk, but those are the times when you really need to do those things because they're nourishing your spirit. So think about all of the activities you do that you enjoy. even if it's just a crossword. Ring a friend you haven't been talking to in a while. Increase your positivity ratio. Think about things that you're grateful for. There's a daily exercise, even just to wake in the morning and think of 3 things that you're grateful for. And again, that can just shift your perspective on the day. Rather than listen to the news 10 times a day, it's constant, it's still going to be there. If you miss the 6 o'clock, it'll be there at 8 o'clock. You can look at it on your phone for 2 minutes and get the update. You don't need to watch the news 10 times. So instead of watching the news, maybe put on a piece of music that you love. Recently, I found a piece of research around uplifting music, and it was all 70s, 80s music, the top 10 songs that were the most uplifting. So Queen, ABBA, all of that kind of music. 80s music in particular has a certain rhythm that lifts your mood. So do more things that lift your mood, Earlier I had mentioned that mindfulness is about bringing your attention to the present. We're often not in the present because we're on autopilot. When we learn something new, for example, learning to drive the car, for me was a huge task because there were so many things to remember. The gear stick, the wheel, watching outside, indicators on which side, the lights on and off. And I actually couldn't listen to the radio because that was just one thing too many. But then over time, when you become proficient at driving, you don't need to think about each individual task. It goes into automatic pilot. So that's useful for us for those kind of tasks, but it's not useful to be on autopilot all of the time because you're actually missing the present moment. How many times have you driven through a town and thought afterwards, did I go through there yet or not? So then you're actually missing the present moment. So be aware that the majority of time we operate on automatic pilot, but that mindfulness brings us back into the present. So it's about finding opportunities to bring yourself back into the present because it's the only moment that we have. In terms of learning about yourself, one of the ways that you can I suppose, discover more about yourself and your strengths, which can be a very positive experience for you, is to learn through going online. There's a particular website called viacharacter.org, and I suggest, because this part of it is free, it's a personality test. But the interesting thing about this personality test is it looks at 25 signature strengths. It doesn't look at any of your weaknesses. So you can discover for yourself which are your top strengths. So research has shown it's best to play to your strengths rather than discover your weaknesses and beat yourself up over not being good at stuff. So find out what your strengths are and just try that, for example. And you might find that you're very curious, that you have great zest for life. So how can you use those strengths in everyday interactions with people and even for yourself?
I was just wondering, Teresa, could we do a little taster session for our viewers?
Mindfulness of breath meditation. This guided meditation on the breath is intended to help you become familiar with mindful meditation and the calmness that can result from its practice. Find a quiet, comfortable space where you won't be disturbed for a few minutes. Sit in an erect posture, either on a chair with a straight back or on a cushion. Rest your hands lightly on your lap. If you're comfortable doing so, close your eyes. Or if not, just lower your gaze and fix on a spot on the floor or the wall. Allow yourself to switch from the usual mode of doing to a mode of non-doing, of simply being. As you allow your body to become still, become aware of the movement of your breath as it comes into your body and as it leaves your body. Simply being aware of it and the feelings associated with breathing. Draw the breath in through your nose and slowly out through your mouth. Observe the breath deep down in your belly. Feel your belly as it expands on the in-breath and as it falls back gently towards your spine on the out breath. Just being totally here in each moment with each breath. You're not trying to do anything or go anywhere. You are simply being with your breath, with each in-breath and each out-breath, giving full care and attention to each. You will find that your mind will wander off into thoughts. This is normal. All you need to do each time this happens is notice it and gently bring your attention back to your breath. Being fully conscious of the duration of each in-breath and of each out-breath. Each time you find your mind wandering, just gently and without judging yourself, bring it back to the present moment, to the sensation of your breath. Using your breath as an anchor to focus your attention in the present moment and to help you tune into a state of relaxed awareness and stillness. As you continue to observe your breathing, you may also become aware of sensations in your body. See if it's possible to expand the field of your awareness so that it includes not just your breathing, but a sense of your body as a whole as you sit here. Being here with whatever feelings and sensations come up. Just noticing them, not judging them or reacting to them. Just being fully here, fully aware. Totally present with whatever your feelings are and with your body as a whole. And again, whenever you notice that your mind is wandering off into thoughts, just gently bringing it back to the present moment and to your breathing and your body as you sit here, not going anywhere, not doing anything, simply sitting, simply being with your breath in each moment, sitting in stillness, being totally present and open to each moment as it unfolds, just being right here, right now. And when you're ready to conclude the practice, bring your attention slowly and gently back into the room by opening your eyes and allow the benefits of this practice to remain with you. The end. And your body as you sit here, not going anywhere, not doing anything, simply sitting, simply being with your breath in each moment, sitting in stillness, being totally present and open to each moment as it unfolds, just being right here, right now. And when you're ready to conclude the practice, bring your attention slowly and gently back into the room by opening your eyes and allow the benefits of this practice to remain with you. The end.
Okay, are we done?
Yeah. How was that?
That was